What's up, everyone? It's Thursday, you know what that means. So the question was posed Tuesday, what makes you fangirl? So I'm gonna go over one of the things that makes me really excited. So I've been really into giant robots since I was very young. I've been playing games like Mech Warrior and Virtual On since I was 5 years old. And one of the things that really gets me excited about them is the design of the robots themselves. And that's sort of bled into other things I do and it's really fueled my passion for mech models. I build a lot of Gundam models and whatnot. Should I just share with you some of the designs of the mechs I have, and kind of go over why they really get me flowing, get me pumped so much. So the first one I have here is the Goof Custom. It's a custom model of a mobile suit that's meant to. It's basically a mobile suit destroyer. And like what you can see here is I'm gonna take off the left arm. Just look at this assembly. You've got the shield, but then attached to the shield is the Gatling gun, and underneath the Gatling gun is a 3-barreled cannon. And then attached up on the shield is the melee weapon, the sword. And like you can, it's a really clever design of weapon placement. Because I mean, you have your Gatling gun, then when that's empty, you have the 3-barrel cannon, and then if you need to get in close, draw the sword. It's a really clever design of the entire weapon system, and that all fits nicely on that little shield package there. As for the machine itself, it's based off of the Zaku, which is the standard Xeon grunt mobile suit, and you can see it's got nice contours and curves everywhere. It's very militaristic, but at the same time, it's got a lot of curves to it. Looks kind of aerodynamic. Doesn't look blocky like a lot of other militaristic looking machines do. The next one is the Gelgu Marine. This is a high-speed space battle mobile suit. You can see it has all of these little thruster ports everywhere. External fuel tanks, more thruster ports. It's got them underneath the skirt, underneath the feet, and you can see it's a very stable machine. It's big, it's got big feet, and it's got a lot of it's very maneuverable despite its size. It's got its machine gun, it's got its shield with spikes at the end of it for punching, so you can use its shield as a melee weapon. It also has a beam saber. It doesn't look like it would be a very fast moving mobile suit, but it's really well designed as far as the whole backpack with the fuel tanks and the thrusters everywhere, and it's a very well performing mobile suit. Up next is another space type. This is the Tierran space type. Now, what I like about this is that despite the other mobile suits in Gundam 00, this one looks like basically what a tank would look like if you put legs on it and tried to go into space with it. It's got these massive fuel tanks where its knees are. It's got the cannon here, and then it just has big thrusters everywhere. Here. Two of them on the shoulders here, and it looks like, as the legs fall off, it looks like the kind of thing that you would come up with when you're trying to design something that wasn't meant for space to go into space. And that's one reason I really like this. It's a design of necessity where you need it to do this thing that it was never designed to do. So you do everything you can to make sure it can do that job. satisfactorily. And then we have the Draw C, which I did custom paint on this one. This is one of my favorite mobile suits ever. I mean, look at this thing. Obviously purpose built for space. It's got these huge shoulder pauldrons. These are fuel tanks. They've got the thruster ports on the top here. You got these massive fuel tanks in place of the legs, and they've got thrusters at the back of them. You have more thrusters on the backpack, a thruster between the legs. You got smaller thruster ports all over the place. It's got its tiny gun, as well as its little not much shield. I mean, you can tell, and it's one other thing I like about giant robots is you can tell their role from their design. I mean, this thing's obviously meant to be deployed en masse in space for high speed hit and run type maneuvers, and it's just purpose built for that. You see this thing fly through space, as opposed to something like this, which does all sorts of maneuvers and thrusters, reorienting it and whatnot. This thing just goes one direction, flies, turns as it flies, and it's you can tell it's supposed to. And lastly, this is one of my favorite models, period. This is the full armor unicorn Gundam. Look at this thing. Fuel tank. Bazooka. Double Gatling gun. Double Gatling gun. Shield. And it's even got the beam rifle here too. Missiles, just weapons everywhere. I mean, this thing's... I'm at a loss for words to describe this thing. It's just a walking arsenal. And you take everything you can. They took everything they could possibly put on this mobile suit and put it on the mobile suit, and it all still works somehow. I mean, it's just marvelous how they managed to engineer this thing. It's just fantastic. I mean, this is difficult to describe, but it's so good. So I mean, when it comes to mecha design, my big thing, what gets me really pumped, is when you can see a lot of the utilitarian stuff on the machine, when you can see a lot of thruster ports, where you can see a lot of weapon hard points, where you can see a lot of this equipment that it mounts and that it can mount. Like, for those who know Gundam, I'm not so much a fan of the general purpose Gundam type mobile suits. But if you give me like a Zaku, and I can see where all of the vernier ports are, I can see where the armor separates to allow movement, all that kind of stuff. It really makes me excited. I mean, to finally illustrate my point, this is the real grade Zaku 2. The difference between a real grade and something like this, which is a high grade, is that real grades are a lot more detailed as far as the armor and whatnot goes. But just look at the way the knee moves when I bend the knee. You can see this little piece of armor come up and out to allow the knee to bend all the way back. This tiny detail right here gets me excited. Because this is how the machine moves, and you can tell this is how the machine moves. Like how this little part of the toe here comes down. That's just great. The littlest details, the tiny things, are what matter as far as mech design goes, and as far as making a really compelling mech design that really gets me into it and really has me makes it believable and gets me pumped to see this thing in action. Anyway, that's my piece. That's what gets me excited. That's what makes me fangirl. Head fell off. That's what makes me fangirl. I'll see you next week. Have a great week. See you next Thursday.